subscribe.
So, do people like Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon? I think it got good reception, but when I would watch reviews, I'd hear mostly complaining. Maybe I was just on the wrong side of the internet, or maybe I'm wrong about thinking it's really good. Dark Moon has got a lot of atmosphere to go around. Each mansion brings something different to the equation, whether it's the classic cobwebs and dusty hallways, or empty sand dunes or frozen mines. This is the biggest draw for me, and the whole time Luigi is just there, being forced to withstand the horror in front of him. It's an interesting juxtaposition. The main thing you're doing in these games is capturing ghosts, and while I think it is fun to hunt them down and rewarding to suck them up into your vacuum, there is so much repetition of this gameplay loop that by the end I get a little tired of it. I end up getting more of a kick out of the puzzles because they make good use of the environments. Same goes with the collectibles. They make you focus on the little details, and in doing these challenges I slowly get more sucked into the setting. The music helps with this too, being suspenseful, booming, and quiet in the right places. The main mansion themes are all the same melody, but I love how each mansion changes the instrumentation. So then what do people have to complain about? Well, apparently fully completing this game kinda sucks. There's a pretty strict ranking system, and the gems hiding around force you to play a bunch of different missions to get them, rather than just letting you explore the whole mansion on your own. I've never fully completed Dark Moon, but I have tried, and I can understand this criticism. But I do like how the missions let you pick up and put down the game knowing you've made some progress. I guess I just wish there was a better balance. The other two problems I have are, one, the ending. The last gauntlet level really drives home the repetition of capturing ghosts, and the final boss felt kind of anticlimactic. And second, I didn't really like the multiplayer. It's all about ghost hunting there, and well, I already said how I feel about that. But overall, I think Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is great. It's definitely a little out there, but that really added to it for me. And someday I may even go back for seconds.
8 out of 10!
Samus Returns. Are we ready to say this game isn't that good yet? In my recent journey through playing the 2D Metroid games, Samus Returns was far and away my least favorite experience. It's not that this outing was bad per se, but I was so bored. Let's just start with the progression. A lot of Metroidvania fans will scream if their next Metroid game is too linear, but I don't mind linear experiences. My problem is how they handled it, specifically with the gates. In theory, the Metroid gates can work. They provide a clear marker of progress and tell the player where they need to be next. But the more subtle damning thing is what they did to halt the momentum. It never feels like I'm making significant linear progress. Instead, I move forward in baby steps before I have to stop and explore an obstacle course before again making a little more baby steps. These Metroid hunting sections aren't very open in design either. I never really had to think about where I was. I just had to follow the next step in front of me, and eventually I'd find my way through. This wouldn't be a problem if movement was more interesting. See, 2D Metroid games don't generally have amazing controls, but that didn't matter because in those games I was more focused on the destination than the journey. In Samus Returns, I don't even really need to think about where I'm going, so I just become numb. The ending to Samus Returns was great, but I thought it was too little too late. I spent too much time wasting my time for it to change my mind. I thought it was fine, but it never came close to the level of other Metroidvanias. It allowed me to experience Metroid 2 along my 2D Metroid marathon, but I have zero intentions of ever trying it again.
5 out of 10!
So, another Pokemon game. Yup. Okay, sorry in advance, but I don't remember much of anything from Omega Ruby. I remember Gen 3. Actually, after playing Gen 4, I was more excited to go back to Gen 3 than head on to Gen 5. But back then, I had a DSi, which meant no GBA games for me. Lo and behold, Game Freak comes out with this remake on the 3DS. Cool, but I don't know, this one just felt bland to me. Like a Pokemon branded loaf of white bread. Not bad, but not very interesting. I was pretty put off by the look of Gen 6. It wasn't so much the 3D models, but the look of everything just felt so much more meh. Like back when all we had were drawings, I would love to draw Pokemon in different poses and stuff, but now that we have an official 3D render for every Pokemon, they just look so much more uniform and uninteresting. Their colors are less saturated, hard edges are rounded out. Forgive me if all this sounds vain, but like I said before, the main Pokemon games are all really samey. I was excited for Mega Evolutions when they came out, but when I got my hands on them later on, I was really underwhelmed. No matter how flashy the graphics are, there's no hiding that every Pokemon battle well, even with Mega Evolutions, is just pushing the win button, especially in Omega Ruby, which is the second easiest Pokemon game I've ever played. Maybe one of the easiest video games I've ever played. I was thankful for the EXP share at first, but the more I played this game, the more I realized the EXP share just broke all balance. It became a cakewalk. I mean, what else is there to say? Pokemon is Pokemon. If you like Pokemon, this is another Pokemon. Pokemon, Pokemon, Pokemon. Pokemon? Pokemon? I sound like a Pokemon right now. Super Mario 3D Land feels like the perfect handheld Mario game. It finds the perfect middle ground between 2D and 3D Mario, making the former a little more interesting and simplifying the latter to fit comfortably on the 3DS. It doesn't really try to blow you away in any aspect. What it excels at is providing an incredibly solid platforming experience. Everyone says this about 3D Land, but it's true. Imagine taking a 2D Mario game and just adding a Z-axis. This is what you get. It's not as complex as any of the other 3D games, and sometimes I really do miss those extra moves, the triple jump, side flip, etc. I end up trying to do them a lot out of pure muscle memory, and frankly, I don't understand their exclusion. I don't think they would have done anything bad to the overall experience, but I can only speculate. My favorite part of 3D Land is just how perfect it feels on the 3DS. It does take good advantage of the 3D effect, yes, but I more mean the levels. Unlike, say, New Super Mario Bros., 3D Land's levels feel a little more self-contained. They're also all pretty short. This makes it really easy for me to pick up and put down this game anytime I want. The unintended side effect is that I sometimes forget about it, but every time I do pick it back up, it's a good time. It never really wowed me like a Galaxy or Odyssey, but it was way more interesting than your typical New Super game. I can't recall a time when I was disappointed by Mario 3D Land. Bored maybe, but what you see is what you get here. A solid, simple 3D platformer accessible to a wide range of skill levels.
Out of 10!
Smash for 3DS was a lot of fun back in the day. This game fell off my radar like a cliff as soon as the Wii U version came out. It's still a fun game, but it kinda just sits there on my 3DS these days, collecting digital dust. It's Smash, that similar platforming slash fighting slash partying experience the series is known for, only on the go this time. In a time before Smash Ultimate, that was a groundbreaking thing. I once dreamt about being able to play Smash via download play, and it became real, and it was surprisingly not as stripped down as I was expecting. There's a good amount of stuff to do here. A good amount of single player content, new multiplayer experiments in the form of Smash Run, and of course you had the classic battle mode where you can mess with items, special conditions, or just go at it. I was really into Smash at this point in my life. I was following every character reveal, new stage, and when Smash for 3DS came out, I couldn't wait to go to GameStop. I bought it day one digitally so I could just jump right in. I tried to unlock my new main as fast as I could, Little Mac. Yeah, he sucked in the air, but he hit like a truck. And in a time when everyone was still figuring out the controls, that was a real advantage. My problems with the 3DS version cropped up pretty quickly though. It was fun to play on a handheld, but the controls felt weird. The circle pad was not comfortable to play with. The graphics were not the greatest to look at. All of this I could gather just from the demo. And as soon as the Wii U version came out, everyone I knew immediately flocked to that version. That's the main thing that lowered my opinion of Smash for 3DS. It was overshadowed by its bigger brother. I had a couple great memories with the 3DS version, but even before the full release, it had steep competition. I guess you can have fun with it now, but I never really feel like picking it up myself these days.
6 out of 10!
Okay, good thing to know about me going in, I love the Zelda series. I mean, some of my favorite gaming experiences of all time. Ocarina of Time 3D is definitely up there. It just feels like these games were made for me. I love adventure, exploration, and setting. Zelda is all of those things. That must be why I like it so much. I know public opinion has kind of soured on Ocarina of Time, and I can see why. While I think the 3D version has held up better so far, the years passing has really eviscerated Ocarina of Time. From the graphics, the world and dungeon design, some really out-of-the-way quests, I get it. There are some real obtuse moments in here, enough that I'd recommend keeping a walkthrough handy. You don't need it every second of the day, but you will need it. It's for this reason that I can't in good conscience give Ocarina a perfect score, no matter how much I like it. But everything else I just really like. Starting with the story, it's really easy to understand and gets you right on your feet. You know exactly what you need to do within the first hour, and then you just head off into the unknown. Even though there isn't much dialogue or anything, I feel like the story continues as I make my way through the dungeons. And then it turns out it was in vain. You lose, but it's not too late. I like the second half because it feels like one huge redemption arc, and the final boss with Ganon is one of my favorite fights in video games. Ocarina of Time 3D really ties the bow with its upgraded graphics. The music as well is so good at selling the atmosphere. Guys, it's hard for me to describe what makes Ocarina of Time connect with me, but what I can say for sure is that there's a reason it was so praised back in the day. It's not just the combat, or the dungeons, or the story, or the music. It's everything. It all comes together to make this experience. Do not write off Ocarina of Time just because you saw sequelitis. Play it and find out. Everyone should at least give it a try.
9 out of 10!
Funny story about this one, as much as I liked Ocarina of Time, it took me a long time to play Majora's Mask. Like a period of years. I didn't have a great way of playing it on the N64, but even after the 3DS version came out, I didn't bite. Among the things I was watching back then, Majora's Mask was treated like some messiah, this dark horse that people overlooked, but in reality is far superior to that Ocarina of Time game. Hopefully you can see how intimidating that sounds. I was honestly afraid I wouldn't like it as much as other people, but as it turned out in the case of the 3DS version, I ended up liking it more. I thought it was kind of ridiculous how some people online were writing off this whole game because the swimming was bad, or how skipping on water took no skill like the original version did. If you prefer the N64 version, that's absolutely okay. But this version, the 3DS version, is still vastly the same game. I'm getting shades of 64DS, but I like the prettier visuals and the quality of life improvements to the side quests, enough for me to not really care about the N64 version at this time. Either way, Majora's Mask is still absolutely amazing. The world design is really well done. It gives me a similar feeling to Mario 64, where even though Termina is relatively small, pretty much every piece of it has something to do. Not only does it keep me busy, but it makes Termina feel very alive. There are people everywhere. They all have their own routines, a life before Link arrived. The side quests too really bring out some of these characters. This is a game with rock monsters next to humans, next to talking fish, and I still find them all incredibly relatable. This review could easily be a lot longer, but before I run out of time, let me fill in a couple last points. In case you missed the Ocarina of Time review, I'll say once more, a lot of Zelda games need to be accompanied by a guide, Majora's Mask included. There are a few areas that require really specific conditions or a really out there solution to proceed, and for me it unfortunately excludes this game from getting a 10 out of 10, even though I had a great time fully completing it. Still, play Majora's Mask. I don't care how you do it, just play it. I doubt you'll be disappointed.